History's masterpieces wouldn't be the same without their most notable accents. Neither would the Kia Sportage without its multiple drive modes. The Kia Sorento without its expansive 12.3-inch panoramic display. Or the Kia Telluride without its 3 rows of spacious seating. The 2025 Kia SUVs. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Limited inventory available.
You're listening to the Sisters-in-Laws podcast, a faith-based podcast that spotlights Black women who replace silence with storytelling around pregnancy and infant loss and infertility. Black women experience miscarriage and stillbirth 4 to 5 times more likely than white women, according to the NIH and CDC. Whether you've experienced a miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, are trying to conceive, or have an infertility diagnosis, you will learn about resources and strategies to heal, gain clarity, peace, hope, and find an empowering path forward after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. McAfee, and you will hear me interview sisters-in-laws who have healed from such a painful and traumatic experience by sharing their testimonies and stories to inspire and help others turn their pain into their purpose. Now let's get started.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here, Erica.
Yes. Well, I would love for you to introduce yourself, share a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yes. My name is Jackie. My pronouns are she, her, and I am in Durham, North Carolina. I make cotton candy for a living. I have a storefront. We just opened 6 months ago while I was pregnant. And it's been wonderful. It's been interesting opening up a candy shop in the pandemic, but we live in a very community diverse area. And we are so grateful for the people who are always coming and showing up and, helping us sustain our business.
Absolutely. That's so awesome that you all were able to start this.
I have to send you cotton candy, Erica.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. So happy that you were able to start this during the pandemic, but you have a story. So I would love for you to just take us back and share with us your journey to motherhood.
Yes. I found sisters-in-laws through hashtags and looking for more Black women who have experienced what I experienced recently. If we lived in a perfect world, I would have had my baby in about 3 weeks on February 19th. But instead, she came very early at 19 weeks. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. We named her Juniper, and she was 19 weeks old. And my body just went into early labor. It was my first pregnancy ever. I thought that I had infertility issues. I never thought that I could conceive. Me and my husband, we've been together for over a decade, and we've kind of tried on and off, and we failed. And we thought, okay, so I think we're going to be okay if we're forever aunties and uncles. If we're aunts and uncles, then that's all right. And the year that we had accepted this, it's when I got pregnant. And whoa, I felt like my body was mutating. It was crazy. I felt like X-Men, but without the superpowers. My breasts were changing rapidly. I was super hormonal. I'm always crying naturally, but I would cry way more. And I knew I was having a girl because I'm just there's a lot of feminine energy I am cultivating. And so I always knew I was having a girl. And I feel like if I got better medical care, that I don't know, we don't know what can happen. I'm going to spend the rest of my life saying what ifs, but I feel like things would have been slightly different. The day I miscarried and got into early labor with Juniper was the day I was going to go for my first sonogram. And I was never given an ultrasound. So when I would go to the doctors and they would, give me my checkup, they would do the heart monitor thing where they would, what I don't know what's the word, but it wasn't an ultrasound where you can look at the screen and see your baby. And so the week that I had lost her, it was the week that I was supposed to go for my ultrasound. And when I asked the doctors, how and why did this happen? They just said that my cervix opened up very early and there was nothing that they could have done. And because she was born at 19 weeks, you know, they couldn't save her. But me and Reem, we got to spend 2 hours, couple of hours with her. And it was very surreal in the hospital. We were significantly fortunate to be blessed with a phenomenal Black woman nurse named Nurse Danielle. She changed my life. It was as if the universe and my creator was giving me the ultimate loss, but bringing into our lives extremely loving people. And our nurse took such great care of me. And I was honestly too drugged. Like I had a lot of drugs in me. So I really was like kind of loopy, even though I knew what was happening around. But I got to hold my daughter and love on her as much as I could before she left us.
Yes, that's amazing that you were able to have some time with. What did you all do? Were you all able to have a formalized like memorial, or what did you do after she passed away?
Yes. So I allowed myself to grieve completely. I am of the Muslim faith. I grew up in a very Muslim conservative household. And in Islam, it is said that when you are pregnant and the baby is around 4 months old, that's when Allah gives the baby a soul. So if the baby does pass away, the baby needs to be buried like a regular human being. But our spirits didn't feel aligned with that. And so we had Juniper cremated. And I told Reem that I would like to spread her ashes on her original due date. So her ashes are actually behind me. And in a couple of weeks, we will go to a very beautiful river that's close to our home and spread her tiny ashes in that river. But for now, I have allowed myself to grieve like I've never experienced. Oftentimes, when people experience trauma, we have like a flight or fight response. Some people, in order to survive that traumatic experience, they kind of disassociate, and that's what keeps them going. But for me, I kind of just allowed myself to feel. And I feel like I wanted to honor the rest of my pregnancy with my daughter by openly grieving. And Sisters in Loss has been like such a great advocate in my life, in my healing. You do good work, girl.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely fuels the fire to continue to do this and share these stories and share your story. So I love that you all are cremated and are going to honor your baby by spreading the ashes on your original due date. What other things have helped you as you've gone through your grieving journey? How have you emotionally dealt with it, but like physically, because obviously there's some physical transformations that happen in postpartum. You still go through postpartum. So physically, how did you grieve? And then emotionally, how did you grieve?
Because I'm already a significantly emotional person, I always go back to my upbringing and childhood because it kind of shapes me as an adult. So I grew up in a very fear-based, anxiety-based household. I always tell people I'm the first eldest daughter of immigrants. And so people kind of understand the gist because it's almost like you're kind of like a third parent and a third grandparent and the caretaker. And so with that being said, I spent most of my life in fear. And throughout my pregnancy, Juniper was my first pregnancy. And just allowing myself to go through all these emotions and honoring her existence by acknowledging my pain. I felt that if I was to just, there are times where I would disassociate to help me move forward, but allowing myself to feel the postpartum emotions and crying as much as I want and crying to strangers, I really didn't care. If you were in front of me, I was going to speak of, the loss of my baby. And I did not know that I could love the way she made me love. And while I was pregnant, one of my biggest fears was like, damn, am I going to do a good job? Am I going to be a good parent to this child? I don't want to give this innocent life the trauma and the hardship that I experienced. How could I be a better parent to my baby than my parents were to me, respectfully? And so, because she's not here, I allowed myself to be my own parent and just parenting myself every day. And I also think it's her. Like, for anybody who believes in spirit guides and angels, I definitely believe that she is my master angel, and she's just been holding it down for me and her father every day. And the healing when I left the hospital. So when I had given birth to Juniper, the doctors were just like, wait a minute, child, your placenta is still inside of you and you're bleeding a lot. We got to get this placenta out of you because, danger zone. And as soon as the placenta came out, which felt like a second baby, my body was so merciful to me that she started healing. So like right after the hospital, my body started healing, the bleeding became lighter and lighter. But one thing that Juniper left her imprint on my physical body was the lower back pain. I have permanent lower back pain now, and it doesn't matter what kind of yoga stretches and what kind of yoga poses I do. Juniper reminds me that she's still inside me when I feel, my lower back ache.
Yes, understood. We definitely carry our babies with us some way, somehow. So I would love for you to share about what you do, because I feel like that is something new that you started when you were pregnant. And how did you transition and go back into working after you lost Jennifer?
Yes. So our business is called Wonderpuff, and she turns 5 this year. So we've been making cotton candy around North Carolina for a few years, but we got our first storefront 6 months ago. And I wanted to create a space. So when I was designing the store, I had my baby in mind, because the goal was for me to spin cotton candy and for, Juniper to be running around and me sweetening her up. So I asked a few of my wonderful, amazing artist friends to help paint our shop. And it's very colorful and very vibrant and it's very childlike. And subconsciously, I did it for our baby. And so, I was pregnant in the shop. My belly was growing in the shop. I was hormonal in the shop. And when we lost Juniper, September 27th, I gave myself permission to close our store for a couple of weeks so I can heal and process the loss of our daughter. And at first, I was extremely adamant going back to work. My job is very different than a lot of people. And, I'm not in a work office, or I'm not surrounded by a lot of people every day. So when I went back to the shop and I opened it back up and I made an announcement to our community, letting the people know that we are opened and we are healing, it was very hard to be in that space because we had built that space for our baby. So it just felt like a big, like a big hole, like, something was missing. But with time and gentleness, my job and my business became my safe haven again.
Hey sisters, wanted to pause quickly for an update from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Did you know that you can get affordable private therapy anytime, anywhere? BetterHelp can help you match you with the right therapist, particularly for therapists of color that are in your area, for yourself, your partner, or even other teens in your home. Let's help match you with the right therapist by using our offer code with BetterHelp. Sisters in Loss listeners get 10% off your first month with using the offer code betterhelp.com/sisters. So for those of you who are listening and looking for affordable private therapy anytime, anywhere, use the code SISTERS to get 10% off your first month. That is betterhelp.com/sisters, and join the Sisters in Loss community and the listeners all over the world who are using this affordable private therapy with BetterHelp. Once again, that's betterhelp.com/sisters to get 10% off. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's podcast.
I love how it's become a safe haven for you. That's the reason why I wanted to ask, because I figured that it was built around her. So now, have you used any other tools or resources? I know you mentioned the Sisters in Loss community and everything, but were there any other books or things that have helped you along your journey?
Yes. The women in my life, first and foremost. When we lost Juniper, it was a few days before October 1st, which is, Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month. And I've always been very vocal. I think it's pretty radical for people to share their vulnerabilities the same way we share our joy and our happiness. So we had put in our business page, we had shared to our people that we had experienced this loss. And after that, we have received immense love, especially from people who have experienced pregnancy loss the way we did. And the immense love that we've received has really helped. Also, doing my own research and joining groups on Facebook. I'm in the Sisters in Loss. I follow you on Instagram and Facebook, and there's a couple of other support groups that I rock with heavy on Facebook, and just hearing other women's stories constantly and having a space where we can share our trauma and not be judged or not feel uncomfortable, and knowing that there is somebody out there that is going through the same thing you have, it definitely helps. And at the end of the day, nobody wants this, but what is it called? People have said that this is the unwanted club, and I'm sad to see you here, but we're not alone. And I'll also, my best friend introduced me to a nonprofit organization. I think they're from Orlando, Florida. They're called the Finley Project. And the Finley Project is a very small organization, but they help women and people who have experienced pregnancy loss and miscarriages. And it's a 3-month program where they set you up with a friend that can text you and check up on you. They set you up with a therapist, and that you get free therapy for 12 weeks. And they also give you massages and clean your house. And it's just so powerful. And I was introduced to that organization a couple weeks after I lost Juniper, and thought I could really utilize their resources. So that was pretty spectacular.
Oh, that's amazing that they were able to come and support you in that manner. I think that that's so needed, and I'm sure it helped you just navigate your own grief journey.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like we need more of that, like all over the country.
Absolutely. And they were able to really just hold space for you in that time frame and take off some burdens of just small tasks that helped you out. That's amazing.
And they've been, it's honestly, I wish every person who experienced what we've experienced can go through a nonprofit like that. And I'm hoping that with time that we are given more nonprofits that can help women.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in the next few weeks, you're going to be going through the process of, spreading her ashes. So how are you preparing for that? And are you all going to do some type of ceremony, or what are you thinking of doing to honor Juniper in this way?
That's a beautiful question, and I appreciate you asking. I am, so in Arabic, it's called a janaza, which is a funeral for the non-living. And I will be doing something like that for Juniper, but in our own way. And we are going to be inviting people who have supported us through these past 5 months to come and just be a part of us and be a part of this moment. And I believe in cultivating energy together, especially when somebody experienced something like this. I believe in being around a lot of people that you love and that they love you, and just kind of amplifying our love and expanding it to the universe. And I really want our daughter to know that she is significantly loved and she will always be loved. So we will be bringing in our community, and we will be going to the river together, and we will be performing, prayers. And I asked my baby brother to speak on my behalf because he's a Duke alumni and he's just very eloquent. And it just, I love seeing young Black men just be so articulate with their words. And that is my brother. So he'll be speaking for me and my husband and my baby. And after that, after the crying, I plan to celebrate her life with lots of sweetness and lots of eating. And I hope and pray that, given life, that we can continue this tradition of honoring her on her original due date as well as her actual birthday.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you all are going to continue to honor her life as you continue on. And I love how you all celebrate this within your religion, your spirituality practice. So I would love for you to really leave our listeners with some encouraging words for those who may have experienced a loss through COVID. I mean, I think we haven't even talked about that. We are all in this sense of collective trauma that we all are experiencing and are still experiencing. Through this pandemic that has switched to an endemic, that we're still in it. Really, what encouraging words can you leave with our listeners as those people who may have experienced a loss during COVID, maybe thinking about trying again to have another baby, and maybe really want to get pregnant in 2022?
Yes, I believe that our feelings are valid, and that we are living in a human experience that can oftentimes feel very difficult, especially under capitalism and colonialism, being Black and brown and existing in a society that we do. Oftentimes our feelings, our stories are kind of go over people's head. Our stories are valid, and it doesn't matter when we experienced a loss. You have every right to love and express that love for the non-living as much as you want for the rest of your life until you meet them again. And for me, I've been connecting with Juniper more in a way of I allow her to guide me and speak through me. And there's something that I have been saying since I lost her, and that's just being gentle. I mean, we all say that, but how many of us actually live that mantra of being gentle? Being gentle means allowing yourself to feel significantly angry. and pissed off. And if you want to go crazy, giving yourself permission and doing that, but also being gentle with that anger and knowing that everything is okay and everything will be okay. And that your babies are babies. They see us, they're with us. And for anybody who wants to try again, just go gentle. And whatever happens, happens. And drink lots of water. And love on your womb, love on your womb, love on your womb.
Love that. Love that. I'm honoring that in this season I'm in as well. Just love on yourself during this season. The last question I have for you is about self-love and self-care. So what are you doing for you in this season?
Yes. Well, this season is cold and we still got this Morin variant running crazy out here. So just allowing myself to be in the stillness, it's after the holidays. We are in a new year, a new month, and just, we're also in Mercury retrograde. The kids call it Mercury reggaeton. And so allowing myself to feel all of these feelings and honoring my sadness just by acknowledging her and be like, hey girl, how you doing? Yes, come sit down. We're going to watch TV today. Instead of having 5 cookies today, we are only going to have 3 because our health does matter. Apparently, that's what they say. Our health does matter, especially when we're in this journey, and just being significantly kind to myself. One thing that I started to do after Juniper left us, I started to wear a lot of makeup. And even with my mask on, just wearing a lot of makeup and wearing a lot of bright colors. And I saw an improvement in my emotions. And, it gave me joy. So allowing myself to experience joy through my grief. Because oftentimes when people see you smile, they're just like, oh, child, you're okay. You're fine. Or they're just like, wait a minute, didn't you just experience a loss? Why are you so happy? So it's just like tuning out all that kind of energy and just focusing on my energy within. So yeah, that's what I've been doing in my self-love journey.
Love it. So where can we connect with you after this episode? Leave all your details.
Oh, yes. I have only one active page on social media, and that's our business page. It's Wonderpuff, kind of like the word wonderful, but puff in the end. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. If you just Google Wonderpuff, all of our information will come on. We make organic vegan cotton candy. We have so many flavors. We're launching 2 flavors this week in honor of Valentine's Day, because I still love Valentine's Day, and Juniper would have been my Valentine's Day, my Valentine's. And so we are launching 2 flavors, chocolate covered strawberry and a bouquet of flowers, which is an array of floral sugar. So yeah, that's what we do. And I cannot wait to send you some, Erica. I'm going to email you for your address when we're done.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about that. That's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing your story and your light on the podcast. And I'm so happy that you're a part of our community.
Erica, I'm so happy that Sisters in Loss exist, and love to all of our sisters who are in loss.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. For show notes, go to sistersinloss.com. To stay connected with us and join the Sisters in Loss community and receive my weekly newsletter, please go to sistersinloss.com/newsletter. That is sistersinloss.com/newsletter. Please rate and review this episode, and I will talk to you next week.